Yo, John, you're dumb. Dreams mean something.
I don't know. Shut up. I want to talk about dreams today. Just kind of go through different stuff about dreams. Dreams. So, first of all, I guess we'll start off by saying I I usually don't remember my dreams. On the weekends are when I tend to remember my dreams because I don't set alarms, or I get to sleep in later, or sometimes I wake up and go back to sleep, and those are the times I remember my dreams the most. Um, it seems like I don't really ever remember, like if I wake up in the middle of the night, I mean, this all has to do with sleep cycles and stuff too, and like whatever. So my dreams are like anytime I remember them, it's like I just had it and I woke up and it was in the morning. And again, usually like weekdays or when I'm working, if I'm setting an alarm and I'm like, hey, I gotta get up, I usually don't remember dreams at all. Usually that's the case. We've had a conversation about stress dreams already when I was talking about anxiety before. So that's a whole different thing with how my anxiety manifests. We're not really going to get into stress dreams right now because we've talked about that already, but those are a thing that I have. At the end of the video, in one of the thumbnail links, I'll put in that conversation about how my anxiety manifests itself through sleep with clenching teeth and fists and stress dreams. If you want to check that out, that'll be there. So, yeah, don't remember, like some people remember the dreams every night. I do not. But the times that I allow myself to get a little more sleep, usually, or if I wake up more naturally, that is when I tend to remember my dreams more. So, I frankly, I guess, think that dreams don't have any particular meaning. I don't think that we have dreams for any specific reason that we need to dissect them and then, like, it can tell us things and whatever. And there's so many reasons why. So I kind of think like the people that dissect dreams and talk about all the symbology and like all this stuff, I kind of think it's poop, because we could take anything and say it's a symbol for this and it's a symbol for that. And I know people, they have like books, and there's people that have obviously written books and talked about, oh yeah, well like this thing means that, you know, there's like, oh, if you dream about a car and like, where were you in the car and how fast were you going? Were you steering? Were you a passenger? That means you have control or not or whatever. They can mean so many things. You could take any object or scene that you have in a dream and maybe translate that into some metaphor about how you should live your life, or that this means that you're this right now in your subconscious and you need to do this thing. It's almost like I kind of put all that stuff of dissecting dreams like that into the same category I would with like horoscopes, which is just a lot of fluff and like, you know, you can make it mean anything you want. You can make it fit. You can make it work, but it's not like, oh, you had a crab in your dream, so that means this thing definitively for everyone. If you got a crab in your dream, that means this one thing. That's not how it works. Everything's contextual, whatever, and you could pick everything apart and just decide what you want to believe in and what you think makes sense to you and what doesn't. So I kind of think it's a bunch of poop. However, I guess it gets a little more complicated than that, rather than just being dismissive and like, oh, that's poopy pants, and then that's it. So I've talked about stress dreams before. Generally, if I'm very, very anxious and stuff like that, it manifests in certain types of dreams for me that make me really anxious. Like my anxiety feeds into a certain type of dream, which is usually pretty violent, and that in turn, I wake up anxious and stressed because of it. So there's that. But that's about as far as that goes. I never think of like, again, like if you go and watch that video, it's like, oh yeah, because I was punching this dude in the face. That means that I was really punching my own fears in the face, or like I said, you can make that symbol of punching mean anything. You could make the person represent something. You could make, oh, was it in the day? Was it outside? How many people? Like all those things you can force to make something that I really just don't think is legit or there at all. So anyway, but then again, like I said, certain dreams I have when I'm really anxious and stressed, and I wake up from that even more anxious and stressed, and I know I'm like, freaking stress dreams. That's how stressed out or anxious I am right now, and that sucks. And that, I guess, has a meaning to me. It signifies to me that I probably already knew I was anxious and stressed, but I'm just like, man, that I really need to focus on. Like, I feel like when that happens, my mind and body or whatever are telling me like, hey, take 5. You need to figure out a way to like relieve some of the stress because it's manifesting, even when you're sleeping. Besides just clenching and stuff, like it's manifesting in your dreams, and that doesn't feel good. So yeah, that's a thing where I think my dreams are telling me something. That's pretty much the only time. I feel like sometimes, in my experience with my dreams and how I interpret them or whatever, or don't interpret them, I feel that, I mean, sometimes it's just complete, it just seems like so random. It's like, yeah, I was thinking, like, I ran into someone from high school the other day, and we talked about some of our fellow students that we went to high school with, and then, I had a dream about one. I haven't thought about them in like 10 years, so, like, that's probably why they were in that dream, because we just talked about them the same day or the day before or whatever, and that thought was floating around in my head. Other times, like, I don't know. It's maybe things I was craving during the day or whatever. My brainium is like somehow just processing the day's events in a certain way, or the 2 days before the week or something. And then sometimes I have a dream about just a character or a person is in there, and like nothing really significant happens. I don't know how to explain it. All I can remember right now is the dream that I had this morning, and it really sucked. I've been having really weird and messed up dreams the past couple of days, also because I have been anxious, I have been stressed, but these weren't stress dreams, but they were like maybe a product of this. I'm having messed up dreams maybe because I'm anxious or whatever. And yeah, and also because I haven't, like, I've been going to bed a little too late, and then instead of waking up at the time I'm supposed to, like with my alarm being like, hey, wake up at 6, get ready in case you get a call, I've been like, you know what, if I get a call, that'll be what wakes me up, and then I'll get ready. And I haven't gotten a call for 3 days, so anyway, doesn't matter. So I've been remembering my dreams more because of that, because I'm waking up more naturally as well, and haven't just been in a rush to, I woke up, okay, gotta go, like, let's do it. So I've just been messed up, and I remember the one I had today, and that's what sparked this video. Is like, you know what, like, it's like really TMI, this dream, and pretty messed up. So I don't know if I want to get into it or not. I just haven't decided. Before I started making the video, I was just like, oh, should I talk about it or not? I guess I'm gonna get into it. So whatever. Yesterday I was having a conversation. Oh, you know what? No, let's not do that. Shoot, where do I go if I don't go there? We were talking about a whole bunch of stuff, and then this topic of threesomes came up, and it was just like, that's been something that's never interested me. It just has never been a thing that I've really desired or had a fantasy about, or that I'd ever want to fulfill, because it just doesn't interest me, like, at all. So that came up in this conversation. And then this morning, I had a dream, and where that was going to happen with 2 other individuals, but it didn't happen. And then somebody, like, this was at like a church, but the church was really like a school. And I don't know, it was like one of those things where it's like, you know what the space is, but then the space kind of like changes with the function of it. It's like sometimes I have more than one dream within a dream, and it's like it just blends into a completely different thing, and then like I'm in the same building, but it's like the other part of the dream didn't really exist because this is its own universe. It's weird, it's messed up. But then there was this thing, like I was in this room, and then I don't remember how I got to the outside, but there was this dude who was like outside, and he was gonna like hang himself. He was trying to anyway. And then me and some other, I don't know where the other dude came from, but me and some other dude were like trying to save him, and I was like underneath him, like holding him up so that the noose wasn't like choking him anymore. And then the other guy was like trying to like undo like the noose, and the dude who tried to like hang himself was like trying to kick us away because he wanted to die. And so that was like that dream, I guess, the really short version of that. And then so that's what brought, like, it was just a really messed up dream. Like I said, there was this threesome that was going to happen that never came to fruition with at all. But like the two individuals were there, these two women were there before the hanging stuff, and then they just like magically disappeared, and then the hanging thing happened. But like I don't know why, I was just recalling how messed up it was this morning, and I remembered it, and it's like if I tell someone about the dream, then usually I'll remember it for the rest of the day. But if I don't tell anyone, then like usually an hour later, I was like, I know I had a messed up dream today, but I don't remember what it was. So I was just thinking like, that was really messed up, and I was like, I wonder why I've had messed up dreams like 3 days in a row. I don't remember the other 2 days, but I remember they were kind of messed up. And so I just asked a friend, and I was like, well, more than one friend. I just put it to one of my group chats, and I was just like, hey, do you ever find like a correlation between like anything and having messed up dreams? I'm like, these weren't stress dreams, like the regular stress dreams that I've talked about that I've had. But do you find any correlation? Because some people are like, oh yeah, man, you never eat like pizza right before bed because then you have crazy dreams. And so like some people say stuff like that. I'm like, is there really any correlation between what I ate and then like this dream? Because I can't imagine there is. That'd be weird. But some people like swear by that. It's like, don't eat cheese before bed. Or it's like, don't eat whatever like right before bed, because that, anyway. So I put that out there, and then I don't know. It was just a really messed up dream, and I was just pondering, why did I have that dream? Why did I have these 3 messed up dreams in a row? More like it, not specifically that dream, because if it was just that one by itself, I really wouldn't have thought about it too much. But I had these 3 in a row that were weird, and I was like, man, why am I having such bizarre, weird, crazy dreams lately? Because usually my dreams are pretty nonsensical, in the aspect that, like, I don't know how to explain it, where it's almost like not a lot happens. They're not really magical and like, wow, I just went on this crazy journey and it was a lot of fun. Like, I don't know. They're usually very like, they're nonsensical in a way that I don't give them any significance. They're not really that fun. I don't know. They're just like, I can just shrug them off within a couple of minutes. So they're not really that big a deal. That's usually the case. But yeah, having 3 messed up ones in a row, I was just thinking about that, and so I started thinking about it, and I was just like, I wasn't really trying to analyze it, but then my mind went into this place like, I'm already thinking about why I have had 3 messed up dreams in a row that weren't typically stress dreams, and how my stress dreams manifest. So I was thinking about that, and I was like, oh, maybe like, and then my mind I just started daydreaming, and then my mind wanders, and like, oh yeah, I guess like if someone were to dissect this, they could be talking about like, oh, like what if like these 2 women, and especially because of their size, they were very large women, and it's like, what if they're just like representing like a lust for life, or just like mortality or something. And then like I was thinking about like, oh, there's in the same dream there was like sex, and then there was death, and both of those things were like could be symbols for mortality on different ends of the spectrum almost, and just being like how the sex part never happened in the dream at all. So it was just like, oh yeah, let's dissect this with all the things I'm thinking about with legacy and mortality and anxiety because of mortality and things like that, and like how like this thing that's supposed to be like really good in the dream never happened. And it's like, oh yeah, you can't ever attain that much life, or like that immortality, or that experience is never going to happen where you just have an abundance of life. And then there was the whole like, oh, you try to save this guy from hanging, but he didn't want to be saved, and there's this death part, and I was just going off in my mind, and I don't remember all the things I was thinking of, and that just brought me to thinking about dreams in general. But I was like, you could just dissect this in so many different ways, and it just left me feeling like messed up for a bit, but not like, it didn't really stick with me and give me like a rotten feeling for the rest of the day. But I was like, that was weird. Why did I dream that? That was kind of, it didn't, like, yeah, I didn't wake up feeling great. It was just kind of like messed up. So, yeah, like I said, I don't take stock in it. I don't think my subconsciousness is trying to tell me something that I need to listen to and then act on. And it's like I said, I put it in the same box that I put like getting your tarot cards read and horoscopes and fortune telling. Like, I just don't think there's anything to it. You can make it something, and then you can believe in it, and then if you believe in, like, I guess obviously the power of the mind, and the mind is very powerful, and if you treat it like a placebo, then sure, I guess that would work. If I choose to believe in this thing that gives me a direction, but then there's like there's like a confirmation bias involved and stuff. So it's like, yeah, you can make it mean something, and then you can act on it, and then you can say, yeah, well, my dream told me I should do this, and then I did it, and then this good thing happened, or then I altered this thing, and my dream made me realize this thing about myself, so I decided I needed to do this thing, A, B, and C, and then I did it, and things worked out great. You could do that with anything. But that's the thing, like, you're in your own head, and you're deciding how to interpret this thing, and then you go and do it, and no matter what, you'll always be right, because you can just justify what you want to and ignore the parts you don't. And the fact is that none of those things mean one specific thing. You can make them mean more than one thing. So anyway, like I said, I think it's a bunch of hooey for the most part. I don't think my subconsciousness is communicating to me through my dreams that I need to listen to that. I think it's just like this, like, sometimes I just dream about cool stuff because I'm like, man, I've been on fire for art lately, and I really am just thinking about painting a whole bunch. And then sometimes I dream about art, which is really rare. But I've definitely dreamt before about me being on stage and performing music, because at a certain time that was like, I was doing that all the time and I was thinking about it more often. Or maybe it's when I started to miss it because I wasn't doing it. So like, yeah, my mind is taking, or my dreams or whatever are taking cues from things I'm thinking and feeling and experiences I have. Like, they're coming from somewhere. Like, my consciousness is generating these dreams from my experiences and my thoughts and my feelings about those experiences. Like, yeah, I can't dream something that's like never existed in my own mind. It's something I've never ever come to, like, I don't know, it's accessing all these different things, and it's all jumbled, and it's putting them together in this weird way. It's like an interesting concept, which is why I wanted to talk about it, because I think it's, you could say it's useful it's a useful exercise if you wanted to dissect your dreams, just because it's like fun and interesting. I just don't take stock that there's one specific meaning. But it'd be a cool exercise to do, because it might make you think about your very recent experiences in a certain way, and you might, again, you're thinking about your recent experiences and your history, and then you can decide what to do with that information. It'd be the same as if you didn't dream that thing, but the dream could guide you to think about a certain thing, and maybe it can't. So I don't know, I think it's interesting. I think dreams are like fun generally, and they're also just like, I guess some people attach this like magical, like mysticism and stuff to them. I generally don't, like I said, but I think that it's interesting to think about, to talk about. Some people just really heavily attach so much meaning to their dreams, but then they don't do anything with that. And some people really take a lot of stock in that, and they act upon that. So I mean, that's kind of all I wanted to bring up right now, is just kind of, hey, that's dreams. That's how I think about dreams and how I feel about them. I think it's, like I said, I think it's an interesting topic, and I think that it's cool and interesting that a lot of people have different ways that they process the dreams. Some people write them out. They have dream journals, and then they leave them and do nothing with them. And some people look back on that. Very rarely have my dreams ever influenced any of my actions at all. Very rarely have I ever gotten an idea for art based from my dreams. There's some people, they just get a lot of that, a lot of inspiration from their dreams, and I generally don't. But it's just like a fun little weird movie that generated in my head is how I kind of look at it. And then in the morning I'm like, wow, that was messed up. Or like, that was really odd, or that was kind of funny. And then I move on from it, and then because it was just the nature of the dream itself and the way that it works in my mind, like, I generally forget about them. And that's it. So I'm really curious, especially with this one. Like, if you're watching this, I would love to hear your thoughts about dreams. Maybe you had a really crazy, weird dream you want to share. Maybe you want to talk about, like, no, John, you're dumb. Dreams mean something. Like, get your act together. Like, maybe that's something. Or maybe, yeah, I just want to hear your general thoughts about dreams and dreaming. If there's any meanings there that you think, or point me towards some science, because I know there's that out there too. Like, you know what, dreams are this thing, this is when they happen, this is why they happen, blah, 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 blah. So if you have any thoughts about dreams, which almost, I think the majority of people I've talked to have remembered a dream here or there, right? And some people it's every night, and some people it's like me, maybe just a couple times a week usually. Yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts anyway. That's kind of a quick conversation, and we didn't really deep dive into stuff. But just bringing up the topic because I think it's cool and interesting, and I'm hoping that this, more than a lot of them that I've had in the past, that I hope you can contribute to in some manner, because it's one of those things, like I said, I genuinely find them interesting, and now that I'm talking about it, I guess it makes me want to explore the topic more, not in a research way where I feel like I'm going to learn something and now I'm going to start analyzing my dreams. I really don't think I'm ever going to get to that point. That's just really not me and where I'm at or where I've ever been at, where I think that they're going to point me into a direction which shapes my life and inspire me to change and do this and do that. I just don't think that's going to happen. But like I said, it's an interesting topic. It's creative, and there's imagination involved in a way, not directly, but there's the topic of the subconscious and how it manifests. Like, it's just interesting because it's the brain, the body, the soul, whatever you want to call it, all these things mixed together, and it's this thing that your body does, and I don't know everything behind how to explain why it does what it does, and I've never been interested enough to really deep dive into it. So, again, if you've got information out there that you'd love to share, I would love to hear it. We will see you on another time.